Hello again. Welcome to Hope Dealing. We're talking about faith, in particular biblical faith versus this common faith, this faulty faith that is passed around from religions today. I trust the Word of God, and I hope you too do as well. And the Bible is showing in Hebrews 11 that faith does not mean you'll be able to change things. Faith means that you'll be able to endure whatever comes your way. I'll say it again, that if faith could change things, Daniel would not have remained a servant to Nebuchadnezzar. If he had faith, but his faith did not change the fact that Jews had to serve in Babylon. David had faith. That faith does not mean that trouble won't work up in his life. Faith does not mean that Goliath falls out. No, faith means you got to stand up to Goliath. And by faith, God will bring you through rather than to remove the situation in your life. So, of course, you could tell I'm on a soapbox on that point because there's so many people that suffer in their walk thinking that God has failed them. No, God has not failed you by allowing trouble into your life. God is going to show who He is through your willingness to move forward, the evidence of things not seen. Then verse 2, for by it, by faith, biblical faith, real faith, by it the elders obtain a good testimony. So that's a setup to start talking about the men and women of faith in God's picture book of faith. He's going to mention Abel. He's going to mention Noah. He's going to mention, he's going to mention Enoch. He's going to start talking about all these men and women of faith and how did they obtain a good report? I tell you what, one of the heroes of faith that always shocks me is Samson. You go back and look at Samson's life. He is not an example of godly living at all. He's a party animal, wild, crazy. Wakes up in a whorehouse and grabs the gate post and carries it for 20 miles. Just crazy stuff. And you'd be hard pressed to find some good moral value in the life of Samson. So how does he have a good report? How is he in this book? How is he in this chapter on the heroes of faith? Well, because of all the things that were wrong with Samson, he never turned toward another God. He always followed the God of Abraham. And what's the point? Is that he obtained a good report, not because of his moral life, not because, and all of them as well. I don't believe everything was right with Noah. I don't believe everything was right with Abraham. I don't think we know everything wasn't right with everybody. But nonetheless, they obtained a good report because they never gave up on God. That ought to move your heart to of course, recognize that we got our problems and our sicknesses and our weaknesses. But one thing we ought to be determined to never do is to turn away from God and go back to wherever we came out of. I hope that this helps you. I hope that at the end of it all, with all that's wrong with me, all that's wrong with you, that we would have obtained a good report by having the faith to move forward. God bless you. We'll pick this up next time on Hope Dealing.